Hi, everyone. Welcome back to this cozy space. I've missed you, and I'm so glad you're here with me today. Lately, life has felt a little bit quieter around here. Over the past month, I've been grieving the loss of our sweet border collie, Brady, my Brady boy, and trying to slowly find my footing again in the middle of all of that grief. I found healing in creating, in working with my hands and telling stories, journaling memories about him. He's so amazing. And sending happy mail. So much happy mail. I'm going to show that to you here later. Also, finding little ways of keeping Brady close to me while moving through the hardest days of my grief. So today's video, it's a little different. This is going to be a love letter to Brady, and also to the healing power of creativity during difficult seasons of life. Something else that has brought me comfort is starting a audio diary. There's an app that I found. I can talk into it and process, and it gave me goals and things to work towards while I was in the depths of my grief.
Today is a sad day, but I'm gonna try to keep my mind and my hands busy.
Healing doesn't always show up in the big, flashy moments. Sometimes it looks like flowers for my mom and my stepdad on the counter. Although I will say these flowers are pretty flashy, aren't they? They're so beautiful. The bright colors made me so happy each time I saw them. My mom and my stepdad know Brady very well, and they also were grieving along with us. Healing can also show up in a quiet cup of tea, a thoughtful letter, or simply finding little pockets of comfort while your heart learns to carry the grief. I opened a letter from a viewer all the way from the Netherlands. I didn't know she was sending a letter. It was waiting for me in the P.O. box, and it was a huge, wonderful surprise. The thought that someone who had no idea how deeply I needed a moment of softness and connection right then would happen to send me a letter. She had no idea what our family was going through, and it found me at just the right time. Thank you for your letter if you're watching this. Another level of grief during all of this is watching Mabel walk through her grief. She loved Brady. Brady was her heartbeat, just like he was mine. He guided her through so much. She's a very timid, soft soul, and Brady is the complete opposite. So her world has been rocked. She's been struggling in her own ways. During those first few weeks, even getting her to eat became something we had to gently cheer her through. She is still struggling with this, but we are trying to give her jobs around the house, which has been fun for her. And we're teaching her new tricks, and we're taking her for walks, and we are trying to make sure that we are carrying her through her grieving process as well. One thing I've learned during this season is that creativity gives grief somewhere soft to land. When my heart was heavy, I found so much comfort in working with my hands, cutting paper, writing stories, putting together happy mail for other people, printing photographs, creating journal pages filled with memories of Brady. It hasn't taken the grief away, but it has helped me carry it more gently. Before Brady passed, I joined a Sisterhood of the Traveling Journal project. I've talked about that on here before. I was very excited to get involved as this was my very first time joining a loop. But sadly, Brady passed days before my journal was due to go out. I did not have the heart to start a project like this. until I decided I was going to dedicate my whole journal to Brady. And that's what I did. I filled the pages with memories of him and photos of him and sprinkled little bits of him into each layout that I created. It's not my best work as I was rushed to put this together, but it was so healing for me to work through this. This journal will get passed between a loop of other ladies, each of us taking turns with each other's journals and filling them with our own stories and creativity. This journal will find its way back to me sometime next year, and it will be full and fat with creativity. I can't wait to have this on my shelves and to see what others add to Brady's legacy journal. A lot of these clips were filmed during those very first few days after Brady passed. And now a little more time has passed. I can honestly say grief feels different than it did in the beginning. I still miss him every single day. I still cry. I still catch myself looking for him in the little moments around the house. But slowly, life has started finding a new rhythm again. Not one without Brady, because he'll always be a part of our story, but one where we're learning how to carry his memory forward with more smiles alongside the sadness. We've all been grieving in our own ways. The boys are doing well, although those first couple of weeks were definitely hard, especially for Weston. Weston and Brady have a really beautiful bond. My boys don't know a home without Brady in it. We got Brady a year before Weston was born, and they've grown up alongside him, as have I. I think we're all slowly learning the same thing right now, how to keep moving forward while still holding close the love we have for someone we miss so deeply. One of the things that helped me the most during this season was pouring my energy into creating for other people. I created themed Happy Mail packages to share with my Happy Mail community in honor of Brady. Each person sent me a different theme to work from, and I got to work. I spent hours cutting paper, gathering little treasures from my stash, writing notes, decorating envelopes, and creating tiny pieces of joy to send out into the world in honor of Brady. Each envelope had pictures of Brady, told a little bit of his story, and some of them even had a picture of his nose for people to boop when they received them. It was very healing for me to have this project to work on. Somewhere in the middle of all of that creating and mess and joy that was coming from that, I realized something really beautiful. Grief, joy, love, happiness, name all of the emotions. They can live side by side. Every package became a place for me to pour love, creativity, memory, a place for my grief to go. It was a healing process, something tangible. While working on all of these projects, I also found myself writing down Brady's story, the story of how he came into our lives, the adventures we shared with him, the countless little ways he shaped our family over the last 14 years. Before we close out this video, I want to share his story with you too. While I read Brady's legacy story, I'm going to let clips of all the different Happy Mail packages that I created in honor of Brady play in the background. There's lots of creative inspiration in there. Each person selected their own theme, so maybe you can guess which each person's theme was. One of my favorites was a girl who said in honor of Brady, she would love to receive a black and white themed package. I loved Brady in red, so I also included splashes of red in her package as well. At the very end, we're going to talk about what's coming up for this cozy space as we get back into the swing of our typical content. Brady came into my life 14 years ago. He was a birthday gift from my mom and my husband, something I had wanted for a long time. I'd always dreamed of having a border collie. I'd done the research, I'd watched others with them, and just knew how special they were, how intelligent, how bright, more like a human than a dog. We picked him up from a farm where he was roaming freely with his brothers and sisters. He was the cutest little fluff ball, just 8 weeks old. We'd actually chosen a different puppy first, but the moment the owner walked away, we changed our minds. We chose Brady. That moment changed everything. Brady was beautiful, a classic black and white border collie with the sweetest little spot over one of his eyes and the softest fur. We drove away with him, and he cried the entire way home. Not just puppy cries. He knew he was leaving everything he had ever known. I remember holding him, bouncing him, shushing him like you do a baby, trying to comfort him. And that was the moment I knew he was different. He was so incredibly smart, even at a young age. The early years were a whirlwind. He was into everything. It felt like having 5 toddlers in one furry body. He was a lot of work, but he was also pure magic. As time went on, we started taking him everywhere. Road trips, cabins in the mountains, streams lined with pine trees. Brady loved water. He loved being wherever we were. Coffee shops, restaurants, adventures. He wasn't just a dog we had. He was a dog we lived life with. When we brought our boys home, Weston and then Carson, we didn't know how Brady would adjust, but it was effortless. He welcomed them as if they were his own. No jealousy, no hesitation, just love. My boys are now 11 and 12. They don't know the rhythm of our home without Brady in it. Brady wasn't just our pet, he was part of our family. Brady loved people. Anytime someone came over, he truly believed they were there just to see him. He had this funny little habit of walking between people's legs, like they were a bridge and he was passing underneath. At first, people thought it was a little awkward, and then they realized it was just his way of loving them. Brady gave the best hugs. Every morning, he would beeline straight to me, stand up on his hind legs, and wrap his arms around me and squeeze, like a real hug. We never taught him that. I truly think he learned from watching us love on each other. People who knew Brady knew about his hugs, and they made sure to get one when they came over. It was one of his special ways that he showed love. He had the funniest quirks. One of our favorites was something we called blanket shuffling. You may have seen him doing this in the background of some of my videos here on YouTube. He had a special blanket that he would use his front paws and push and shuffle it all around the house, always following the same path around the coffee table over and over again. Another one of his favorite things was pushing bowls around the floor. Somehow, one ended up on the ground one day, and he discovered that it would slide across the hardwood floor, and that was that. He was hooked. He would push the bowl with his nose and chase it and bark at it, kind of like he was hurting the bowl in a way. Brady loved walks, hiking, camping, tennis balls, catching frisbees high in the air. Oh my gosh, the height he could get jumping to catch a frisbee was wild. He was so fast, truly the fastest dog I've ever seen. He also loved chasing dragonflies. We didn't realize what he was doing at first. We would see him outside jumping and flipping through the air. It took us a while to figure it out, but once we did, it made perfect sense. Of course, Brady would chase dragonflies. Just add it to the list of the other funny things he did. He loved watermelon in the summertime and bits of fresh bread. He could smell it from anywhere in the house. If I ever said, "Fresh bread," he would come running and sit patiently waiting for his piece. He had the best manners, waiting his turn to take a treat from your hand with the gentlest nibble. We would often laugh at how slow and careful he would move his mouth when taking a treat. I would give the "no more" command, and off he went, knowing that was all he was getting. He didn't linger and ask for more or beg. He was so polite. Brady loved Christmas. Every year when we put the tree up, something shifted in him. He knew what a stocking was. He knew where his stocking went, and he knew that when it was hung, something exciting was coming. You could often find him sitting in front of it, looking up and waiting, even days, weeks before Christmas. We would say, "Brady, where's your stocking?" And off he went to sit and look at his stocking. He also lived for a good nap under the tree. He loved opening gifts. The whole experience of tearing into them, the joy of a new toy, even the anticipation leading up to opening the gift itself. I have videos of this on YouTube as well. If you've not seen it, it's pretty amazing. I will link it down below. He would let us have our time with the boys watching them open their gifts, but if we pushed Brady's gifts out for too long, he would start huffing and puffing at us to hurry up. One Christmas, after waiting all day to open his gifts, he decided he'd waited long enough. While we were busy with the boys, he quietly went over to the tree. He pulled out all of his gifts that were tucked underneath the branches, and he opened every single one. We turned around to find him happily playing with his new toys, tossing them in the air, having a blast. We were so caught up in what the boys were doing, we had no idea that he had opened his gifts without us. What a stinker, but also what a genius. That was Brady, full of joy, fully in the moment, and always part of everything we did. Brady was also my little model. Before I had the boys, when I was working as a photographer, I used to set up photo scenes with him. He would sit so patiently waiting for my cue. He would totally humor me with all my silly ideas. He even enjoyed the game aspect of completing a command I gave him while I snapped photos. I'm grateful that we have many beautiful photos of my sweet boy. He loved to give kisses, always finding little moments to sneak them in. If you bent down for even a second, he would appear out of nowhere and cover you in kisses. We call them his sneak attacks. Brady would often give my leg a little kiss as he walked by, just to let me know he was there. He also knew the boys' names. I would say, "Brady, go give Weston kisses," and off he went on his mission to kiss Weston's cheek. Happy to share some love. I have several photos of the boys being comforted by him. Brady's kisses being used to soothe a sad soul. I'm telling you, he was pure magic. Brady and I had a bond that's hard to put into words. He was my person, and I was his. We moved together through life. Brady was a safe place for me, a steady, grounding presence in a world that can sometimes feel overwhelming. I feel things deeply. I have a lot of love, a lot of energy, a lot of emotion, and Brady met me in all of it. He never made me feel like I was too much. He just loved me exactly as I was, ADHD and all. Over time, I came to understand more of why that bond was so important to me. He was supporting me in ways I didn't have the language for at the time. He was calming, constant, and deeply intuitive. He helped regulate me, feel safe, and feel understood. He carried me through some of the hardest moments of my life, when our world was shaken by my son's epilepsy diagnosis, when friendships changed, when things felt heavy. Brady was there, always steady, always loyal, always loving. He would never walk away. He would never decide I was too much. He just loved me unconditionally, and I loved him with my whole heart. Brady was strong-willed, spirited, and unbelievably intelligent. He had the biggest personality and the softest heart. He loved his family. He was my light, my compass, my forever best friend. I am broken that he isn't here with me anymore, but I am incredibly grateful that I got to love him and be loved by him. His love was a gift that I will forever be grateful for. We may have many beautiful connections with the pets that come into our lives, but we may only be lucky enough to have one soul pet. A pet that we connect with on a deeper level, a pet that gets into our hearts and changes us. Brady was my soul dog. I am deeply shattered by his passing, but I wouldn't trade this pain for the world because it means that I got to be loved by him. I will love you forever, my sweet Brady boy. Woo! I made it through. Barely, but I made it through. Thank you for giving me space to share this part of my heart with you. While Brady's passing has been incredibly difficult, it's also reminded me of how healing creativity and storytelling and the human connection can be. Yes, I'm still grieving. I'm doing so much better. You might not think it after hearing me read his story, but I think I will be grieving him for a long time, and that's okay. We're all just finding our footing little by little around here. Over the next few weeks, things will start to return to our cozy little routines. I have a thrift haul coming. I have some creative projects I want to share with you. We're going to talk a bit more about journaling over here, and we have some really exciting adventures ahead. All of the everyday moments I love sharing with you here are going to return. Thank you for being patient while I took the time I needed to process and rest and heal and think about how I wanted to share Brady's story with you. I am so grateful that you're here. And if you've made it to the end, let's do heart emojis and puppy emojis and paw print emojis. This was a long one, and I know it's emotionally touching a few of your hearts, and I appreciate you sharing your emotional energy with me today. Okay, I'm going to see you very soon, and we're going to move forward, and I have some fun thrift finds to share with you in our next vlog. Take care, everyone. I will see you very, very soon.